Hi IPSR friends. I wanted to make a quick video and I apologize because I know my voice is not like the sexy narrator type, but I wanted to show you the system I use to keep track of all my job applications. I'm not sure what your fields are or how many job openings you have in your field, but if it's anything like mine in communication studies, they're constantly rolling and so you become a little bit overwhelmed. So I developed a system that worked really well for me. Maybe it'll work well for you, and I'm happy to share any specific materials if that's helpful as well. So I don't know how you organize your desktop, but I had a special folder right here that I had job search. And we got so many job openings that became available in our field this year, and it became overwhelming. So I created an Excel spreadsheet, actually created several of them, which I have uploaded onto the Dropbox as well. But this helped me keep really organized. It also helped my letter writers. So I have this and I also have it in a Google Doc as well. And so you can see some of these tabs down here. So I have all this, and I'm happy to share because you'll see it's on the Dropbox. It shows the school, when the application was due, what the focus of the position was, what the actual position was. I imagine most of you will find yourself in tenure track assistant professor positions. That's what most of my focus was. However, I'm also an administrator, so I had some that were administrative focus as well. So I wanted to differentiate that. A link to the job ad, a link to the department's website so my letter writers could get a little bit better sense of what that place was all about, what the format was for letter, whether it was email, on letterhead, did it have any weird requirements because some of them did, where the letter should be sent, who the contact person is for questions, and then also how I was selling myself. So you'll notice that here in the gray, these were schools to which I applied that did not require a letter. But they still required references, and so I wanted my letter writers to know that I had applied for a job and that their name was attached to it. That way, if they got a call from University of Texas at San Antonio or Texas Tech or Texas State, that they knew that, oh, yeah, he applied there because I've already seen that. So I think that was helpful to them. And then in the white boxes, these are positions that I knew they'd have to write letters for, and I mean, we all know that they write generic letters typically, but sometimes they want to revise towards the position specifically. And so here I would write about how I was selling myself in my letters. And I always shared my letters, excuse me, with my letter writers, but sometimes they didn't even have time to read them. So this was just a quick, hey, here's what I'm doing. If you hit on any of these major themes, you'll be good. Separated it by deadline. We had October deadlines and November deadlines. Fortunately, I didn't have to go past that, but I would imagine it could just keep going as well. Once these were done, I then moved them to the back side where I also kept some notes. I stopped doing this early on because it became overwhelming for me, but in the copy that I'll share with you, you can see the format there as well. Again, this worked pretty well for me. After I applied, I moved it to this folder, but it wouldn't matter if it was in this folder or the to apply folder, which no longer exists. I created a folder for each school by name, so you can see here, these are the schools that I actually applied to jobs for. And then once they were done, I just changed it to done in front of them. So going into some that I received, let's go into this one. You can see that there's a lot of material in here. Depending on what they asked for, this was really big or really small. Some of my applications, I think the largest one I sent spanned like 220 pages. They wanted two manuscripts, a CV, an extended teaching philosophy, an abbreviated teaching philosophy, a syllabus, examples of all the syllabi, example syllabi that I'd used, student evaluations, quantitative and qualitative. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So it goes on and on and on and on. So you can see what this looks like. It's not that neat, but can you imagine if it wasn't in this folder? If I had all this on my desktop, I think I'd go nuts. And so some of these schools were so small, I had no business applying to them. Some of them were so big, I had no business applying to them. But you can see I have my drafts and then my finals. And I used an online PDF merge software that kind of combined everything together. Again, all this worked really well for me. You can see some of my application materials up on the Dropbox. I'm happy to share any templates, any general advice. Not that my way is perfect, but just thought I'd give an idea about what it looked like on my end when I was trying to organize all of these jobs. So I also have a thing here for job talks, which I've shared 2 of them. I used Keynote, so if you don't use a Mac, they're not going to open very nicely on your computer. But I found that they were actually just kind of a lot of fun to use, or they were a lot funner with Keynote, I should say. So it's pretty much like PowerPoint, simply saved them in here. I had 3 on-campus interviews. They all 3 asked for different presentations, which was fun, as you can imagine. This is a research talk. I recognize it looks different than a lot of research talks you've heard, and maybe some of the research talks you would give. I'm a highly visual guy, and knowing where I would fit best, I thought it was important to just kind of be me. And so I took chances in how I designed this. It wasn't your traditional research talk in any way, shape, or form. This was definitely Phil Wagner to the core, just kind of talking about who I am, what I do, doing a little bit of a mind mapping thing. You can see as you go through the keynote that this is really, I think it's fun. Some people probably would label it juvenile, and I definitely don't think that it's appropriate for every single job talk. But knowing the university where I was going to, I've had colleagues there, so I knew it would be well received. I just knew that this would be okay there. So again, just to give you an idea of maybe what a non-traditional research presentation would look like, I've also included an administrative talk. Like I said, I've gone up for administrative positions as well. So those talks look different. I am not a wow you with my genius type of guy. I'm Phil Wagner. I don't try to pretend to be something I'm not. So you'll see a lot of similarities. Trying to be funny with the school's colors and all these wonderful things. They're very, very simple. So even in serious administrative positions, I found it important to be who I was and just try to be real. And so it worked. And I know you're not supposed to have all these visuals and stuff, but again, it was me, and I would definitely recommend you being you. So like I said, I'm happy to share any resources, but I thought I would post this little video so you can see what it looked like on an organizational end as you're applying to millions. Sometimes it feels like jobs. Good luck. I'm definitely looking forward to our meeting.